Well, the league games come thick and fast now. There's never really a good time to visit Old Trafford, Steve. This United team seem to have found a bit of form, but they're going to be a bit wounded after that Liverpool result. So they're going to be out for a backlash, aren't they? It could be a tough Sunday afternoon.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that the backlash is faced by Real Betis on Thursday in the Europa League. But yeah, we'll see how that pans out, because I'd imagine Ten Hag will take that quite seriously, especially the first leg on Thursday. So it'll be more or less full strength United team for that one, and he will think that if he needs to, he can rotate a few sort of slightly fringe players, because he's been getting a lot out of those sort of occasional players this season. Your likes of Garnacho and even Anthony's not really been ever present, but he's contributed in sort of fits and starts. But yeah, I mean, he will be demanding a reaction, because good Lord, they were absolutely pathetic in the second half this afternoon. It was, I mean, Bruno Fernandes should have been sent off probably twice. He's barged into the linesman, which, I mean, if you're a grassroots official, you're watching that and you're thinking, well, I mean, I've just got no chance here.
Any chance for a retrospective ban?
I wouldn't have thought so. That would involve the Premier League or the FA or PGMOL, whoever should be taking responsibility for this sort of thing, actually having a backbone. But they won't do. So no, I wouldn't have thought so. But yeah, I mean, he was awful, and for the guy who's wearing the captain's armband, I mean, I'm not big on this whole, the captain's got to show sort of outward leadership and be the guy that's getting into people when you need to sort of raise your game. But you've at least got to lead by example in some aspect. And his way of leading by example was basically just not bothering to run for the last 20 minutes, unless he could get into an argument with someone, which was quite extraordinary. But they will, I mean, you would imagine they can't possibly play as bad as they did again on Sunday. And I mean, in front of a home crowd as well, where there'll be obviously a heightened level of expectation, especially against a side like us, where we're struggling at the wrong end of the table. I think, I mean, they've run into Liverpool at a bad time for them, where Liverpool have just suddenly turned it on again, kind of rediscovered that sort of form from 2 years ago, where they could put in that sort of performance a little bit more regularly. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're still a good side. Ten Hag's, other than like some really weird sort of massive away defeats. I mean, they got battered at Brentford, didn't they, early in the season? City stuck 6 past them, I think, was it 6-3? And they've obviously done 7 this evening. So away from home, there's still a bit of a question mark on them in certain environments, but at home they've been pretty consistent and pretty good all season. So yeah, I'm not expecting an awful lot from this one. Just get out of it with goal difference intact, I think.
It's not been a happy hunting ground in recent years, I don't think, Jacob, unless I'm forgetting any really good results we've had up there. Do we stick with the same 11 they won at the weekend? Have they earned the chance to start, or do you think he'll set up very differently for this one?
I think he'll change. I think last year, didn't Ralph go for the same team that after the game before that and got a 1-1, but I think Southampton played quite well that day as well, from what I gather. So yeah, Southampton, I think bar the 9-0, they've been okay at Old Trafford.
Since Fergie retired, our record there's actually all right.
Yeah, I think there will be a few changes. I'd like to see Romain Perraud come back, and I think Maitland-Niles have been good, but I just think Perraud defends with a little bit more intensity. And I think when you're against wingers that are direct, especially you saw Maitland-Niles at Leeds, he struggled. I think Perraud's probably up to the task a little bit more, but Southampton need to keep hold of the ball a lot better, and he needs someone to carry them up the pitch. And I think Walcott and Sulemana have been good, but I wouldn't mind seeing Stuart Armstrong back in there just to drive the team back up the pitch, carry the ball, a bit of experience as well. I think he's one of the few players that can hold the ball and allow the rest of the team to get into shape. So I wouldn't mind seeing that. So yeah, there's certainly a few options on there, and yeah, I think it's going to be a difficult one, but I'm actually more concerned now after Man United losing 7-0, which is ironic.
I was the same, yeah. I felt the same as I had that 7th goal go in. Glenn, this is going to be a proper test for Ruben Selles, isn't it? If we give them as many chances as Leicester, we're not going to get away with that.
No, we're not. Which is why I'd like to see the defence rejigged. I'd like to see a balanced defence. The thought of Maitland-Niles playing against Rashford is a little bit scary. So I'd prefer Kyle Walker-Peters to be over that side. I'd be tempted to bring Salisu in as well, just to balance things up. If he's 100% fit, I don't know if he is 100% fit. Alcaraz, obviously, we haven't mentioned that. The idiot went and injured himself doing a knee slide yesterday, so we don't know. We don't know how bad that is. Obviously, his fitness is going to be key. And that'd be interesting to see if he plays the same role that he played yesterday. I know, Man United have got Casemiro, who's obviously a fantastic player, but he seems to have been playing a little bit further forward. So Manchester United still seem to have a bit of a gap between the defence and the midfield that maybe we could exploit. And it'll be interesting to see if Tall Paul gets a go against Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah, it's been missing in action the last couple of. He wasn't in the squad, was he?
Yeah, and and again, it's surprising he didn't play against Grimsby. Bearing in mind he didn't play yesterday, so I think we've got enough to give them a few problems. I don't really think the 7-0 makes a huge difference. And if Man United can get beat 7-0 at any time, I'll take it. I think it's hilarious. I just think it's really funny because there's been a lot of rubbish said about, Ten Hag, and hasn't he been marvellous and all that. They already had a ridiculously expensive squad and he spent about 220 million. So yeah, well played. And they're undoubtedly better than what they were. And Marcus Rashford's form since the World Cup has been incredible. But it'll be interesting to see how we go. Is it the sort of game where we try and sort of, we need to create some chances. We can't just sit back against them. And but can we cause them enough problems? If we're still in the game after the hour, after an hour, what do we do?
When Mara and Armstrong come on?
Yeah, okay. To you was we'll see what happens there. But I'm actually looking forward to it. It's these games, it's a free hit, but
yeah,
I'm getting beat today, it shows they're human. If you'd have asked me before today, I'd have said this is probably the most difficult game you could possibly have right now. But having got beat 7-0, I think it's obviously taken a bit of the air of invincibility away. So so why not? Let's get out there and have a go.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask the three of you for some score predictions. If you're watching the live stream on a Sunday night, then you can leave those in the comments as well. Let's see what you think. Now, Glenn, Jacob, and actually Alfie all predicted the win against Leicester. So, Glenn, I'm going to come to you first for the Man United one. I just can't see us getting anything. I think we'll be lucky to get away 3-0 because I think we're going to struggle a bit. What about you, Glenn? What do you think?
I'd love to know what I predicted when we lost 9-0.
We could probably find that
out. Man United away. It's too much to hope to get anything from the game in terms of getting a point. So I will go a 3-1 defeat.
3-1. Jacob, I'll come to you next.
I was going to go for a 3-0 defeat as well. I think Man United will get an early goal and then Southampton will keep it fairly respectable, but ultimately get exploited on the counter as well.
And Steve, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, they might be tired from Thursday, but they've got a massive squad with loads of depth.
We need them to be very tired.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not, as I say, not expecting a huge amount from this. Get out of it with goal difference vaguely intact. 2-0, I think.
2-0.